back here on the Hunter Call the Wild, and today we're going to be doing a Great One Ring-Necked Pheasant guide for here in Salzwiesen Park. So if you are wanting to put a Great One pheasant in your lodge, you came to the right place. Stick around right to the end of the video. I am going to share a hotspot map showing you exactly where you can find pheasants here in Salzwiesen, and we are going to dive right into it. Let me know in the comments what your absolute best trophy has been since the December the 3rd update. And somewhere in the video I am going to share a key phrase. Drop that in the comments for your chance to win a 1-month membership to the channel. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is our loadout. Okay, so the only two weapons that I carry with me while I am doing the grind is the Virant 22. You can also use the Zarza 22. The big difference between them is that the Zarza has 5 shots and the Virant 22 has 10. So that is why I have opted for the Virant 22, and you will find the Virant 22 in Weapon Pack 1. The Zarza 22 comes in the Modern Rifles Weapon Pack. And then I am using the Cacciatore 12 gauge, which is a non-DLC shotgun. It has 6 shots and it absolutely pummels these pheasants. Now, another really amazing shotgun is the Strandberg 10 gauge. So if I weren't using the Cacciatore, I would be using the Strandberg. I actually use the Strandberg most of the time, but the Cacciatore just seems to do a little bit better on pheasants. And the Strandberg comes in the high caliber weapon pack, and it has 4 shots. So then, of course, I do have my ammo. And then for sights, we have the Odin 412x33 rifle scope and the Hermes 3 7x33 handgun / shotgun scope. And this baby comes in the new Scopes and Crosshairs DLC. So if you are a new player, this DLC will save you from having to unlock the handgun and the shotgun scope. The non-DLC scopes are separate scopes and have to be unlocked as a new player. I have no lures. I am carrying doggy biscuits. Gotta make my dog happy. I have the Apex View binoculars, and then I am carrying tents. I have quite a bit of room left. I have 5 kilograms. I wish I had 6. If you are using the pack mule, you do have room to also carry ground blinds or tripods. Now, I am hunting with my retriever, and here she is, and she is fully leveled up as a tracker as well. So this is the perfect dog to take with you when you are grinding for the Great One pheasant. So they can track all the way to that kill that goes too far, and they can retrieve and bring them back to you. How perfect is that? So that is why I have the biscuits. Before we start, I'm gonna get my dog to stay, and we're gonna start her off with 2 cookies. Now, every time you give your dog a biscuit, and yes, I know they are the world's most expensive dog treats, but it will level you up 1 heart every single time. And the dog will perform better when it is 3 hearts for the bond. Okay. Now, before we start right into the grind, I just want to mention that there are 5 maps that you can hunt ring-necked pheasants on. So those maps are Hirschfelden, which is non-DLC, Rancho del Arroyo, which is one of my absolute favorite pheasant maps. Then we have Cuatro Colinas, New England Mountains, and here in Salzwiesen Park. Now, what are the benefits of doing your grind on this map in Salzwiesen compared to on other maps? Well, first and foremost, this map is 1/3 of the size of other maps. So there are going to be way less pheasants on this map comparatively speaking. What does that mean? Why is that a benefit? Well, if you are planning to do a herd managed pheasant grind, there's going to be a whole lot less to manage, making this a much easier grind to set up. I would say there's probably half the population of other maps, but I don't know exactly what the numbers are. Now, the other benefit is when you are setting up a grind on a smaller map, you have way less ground to cover in order to find all your zones. So finding your zones will be a lot faster when you do your grind in Salzwiesen Park. And I definitely will have a hotspot map to show you where you can find your pheasants and exactly where my zones are. Now, you won't have exactly the same zones that I do, but they definitely will be very similar. Now, there are several different feed zone times to choose from when doing the grind. And basically, you want to pick one of them. You don't want to be going around to different zone times. So I have selected the 14 to 1800 feed zone time. Our choices are 4 to 8, 8 to 11, 14 to 1800, and 18 to 2100. So those are the 4 different feed zone times. Now, what I would recommend doing is setting the time to 1 hour before the end of the feed zone time. So So for me, I am setting up on the 14 to 1800 time slot. So I set the time to 1700. And I'm gonna have to set it back an hour shortly because we're almost at the end of that. But that is what time I start my rotations, and when I run out of time, I just put it back an hour and continue grinding. Now, when you are looking for your zones, you want to look in the wide open areas. Don't be looking in the woods or in the forest. That is where you will find pheasant rest zones, but the feed zones are going to be more out in the open, and even if they're not, you want to be set up right out in the open. It's the worst when they flush, and when you look up to go shoot them, all you see are trees. That's not what we want. So first and foremost, I would check these light brown areas. These are the fields. Most of these will have 1 or 2 feed zones for pheasants in every single one of them. And then I have piles of zones along the coast here. Okay, so there's 8 zones here and 6 of them are pheasant zones. Then all of these feed zones along the west coast here are pheasant zones. And then I noticed that they are putting zones close to the edge of the river. So I have a zone there, I have a zone there, and in the middle, of course, but they're gonna be all over the place. Again, I will show you a hotspot map in a little bit. Now, as far as setup goes, when you are discovering your zones, you want to definitely be carrying tents with you, and when you find a zone, I would definitely drop that tent. Now, there are 2 different ways to set up. The first one is to drop your tent right on top of the zone, which is what I've done right here. Let's actually head over there. There they go. There they go. And what's going to happen when you fast travel is the pheasants are going to spook immediately. See, I didn't see him fast enough, and I'm not going to get him. I can try with the 22, but that is probably going to be a futile effort. Yeah, I'm not gonna get him. And that is the tricky part now since yesterday's update with setting up right on top of the zone. Before the update, what would happen is you'd come into your tent, you could go right into the duck blind right here, and the pheasants would be on the ground, they would not spook, and you could just shoot them right on the ground, go pick them up, and head to your next zone. Well, that is not the case anymore. Now, as soon as you fast travel, sometimes I'm not even out of the tent yet, I'm fast traveling, and I can hear them flushing. So they do flush immediately. You gotta be ready, and you're gonna have to shoot them out of the air. Let's try that once again and see if we can be successful. Let's try this zone. Pretty close to on top of it. So you wanna have your shotgun fully loaded and zeroed, and I'm not loaded. And there they go. Where the heck? Oh. Got him! Beautiful, got him twice. Had to compose myself, took a second, but we got him. Now, if there were 2 roosters here, I would have only got the 1. And before, when they were on the ground, I definitely would have got them both. So we're gonna get the dog to retrieve. Now, I do realize that because of this change, that is going to make life a lot harder for those of you on a controller. I am on mouse and keyboard, and it is challenging for me. It's going to be even more challenging for those of you on console. Okay, so this is a different way to set up. So basically, this is the zone that we are grinding right here. So what I did was I ran in any direction. As long as you can spot the pheasants from about 200 meters, then you are good. Now, I dropped the tent about 230 meters away. Tents have a spook radius of about 180 meters, and the animals in any zone can be within 50 meters in any direction of the need zone. So that is why I dropped the tent at 230 meters. And then what I do is I set a tripod about 150 meters away. The closer I can be to being perfectly zeroed with the 22, the better. And then I drop a tripod. Okay, so I'm about 160 meters, but they're not always going to be in the same place every time. And we have 2 roosters, and we're going to splatter them both. So I'm 0 to 150. Okay. Oh, that guy is going to be tough to get. All right, I'm going to go for this guy first because of that. Maybe he'll move for me. There we go. No. Got him. No. Got him! Beautiful! Okay, we got them both. Because I have my tent here, I don't have a pickup tent. I'm basically allocating 1 tent per zone. You want to set up on at least 12 zones, and then I suppose if you are set up on 12, you can use the extra 4 tents as pickup tents. And then you are going to have to take the time to run over and pick up your kill. So the update is going to slow us down a little bit, but I got the 2 roosters, so I'm doing all right. Now, of course, I'm not going to get full score on them because I shot them grounded, but it doesn't really really matter if they're grounded as long as they aren't a trophy. So that's gonna send them back for a respawn, and that was our goal. Now, if you do have a diamond or a rare, or a great one of course, then you definitely want to make sure you shoot them while they are in the air so that you do get full score. And that was our second. 2 more are going back for a respawn. Okay, so that's the far away way to set up. Okay, to set up the original way, you basically, oh, they're here. Oh no, I wasn't ready. Where the heck? Oh, I got him. Beautiful! Now, unfortunately, I wasn't in my blind, so I am going to get full hunting pressure. And you want to be really careful with the hunting pressure because it really does affect the pheasants. If you have too much hunting pressure, they just will not come into their zone. So that is why, if you can help it, why you want to shoot from some sort of hunting structure, whether it be a blind, a tripod. Oh, that's a gross. I'm looking for males. He's right here, dog. I found him first. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the delivery. So basically what I've done here is I've dropped my tent and then I put my duck blind as close to the opening of the tent as possible so that I can fast travel to the tent, get right into the blind and start shooting. Now I personally like to get up right on the edge just to give me a little bit of added elevation. And if you look in the bottom right corner, I am still hidden. If you are a little bit too far forward, then you won't be hidden and you won't get reduced hunting pressure. So just make sure that you are hidden. So that is how we are set up here. And so just need to be good and ready when you fast travel to that tent because you will be shooting them out of the air this way. So I basically set up both ways. A lot of my zones I just left the way they are, and then I have set up from a distance. So here's my tent, here's my tripod, and this is the zone that we are shooting. And I should mention, when you are looking for zones, don't bother looking in the marshy areas. They are not going to be in any of the marshy areas. Now, when you're discovering your zones, you don't want to set up on every single zone. You want to set up on the flock zones, and they're not even here. So basically, a flock zone is a zone with at least one rooster and several females, several hens. You don't want to set up on a solo zone because when you shoot anything that's in a solo zone, that zone is going to delete and it's going to reappear somewhere else on the map. So setting up on a solo zone is basically just a waste of time. Now, if you are going to be using tripods, the tripods come in the tripod and tree stand DLC. And if you are going to be using the duck blinds, like this one right here, this blind comes in the duck and cover DLC. And they are $8,000 each, and tripods are $16,000. Now, the other thing you want to make sure of is when you are shooting diamond potential level 2 pheasants. So diamond for ringneck pheasant is 20.29. So if that number falls within the estimate and it is a 2 to 3 kilogram pheasant, that is their max weight, 3 kilograms, then you want to shoot them in the air so you get full score because they could make diamond. Now the roosters, when they respawn, will jump around. They won't necessarily respawn into the same zone. So you could have one rooster at a particular zone, one rotation, and the next time you could have 2. That's normal, just don't worry about it. 2 little guys. Now, if you are planning to herd manage your pheasants, then I would recommend not shooting the level 1s like these guys right here, unless they are in your main shooting zones. Now, I will be doing a pheasant guide with iBuy premiums on how to herd manage your pheasants, so that will be coming. So we have all kinds of roosters out here. We're gonna take these 2 to start with, these little guys. This is a main shooting zone. Now, zeroing is super important. I always spot the animal. Once you do that, you're gonna have a green circle exactly where you spotted that animal. Put your waypoint right in the center or just your cursor, and it will tell you in the bottom right-hand corner exactly how far away that animal is. So this pheasant is about 126 meters, and the 22 zeroes in at 50, 100, and 150 meters. So that means if I aim right at the pheasant, my shot could be a tiny bit higher, but within 25 meters, pheasants are fairly big as far as birds go. I would just aim a tiny bit low. Got him. Oop, got them both. Beautiful. Now, sometimes when you're shooting from like 190 or 200 meters with the 22, sometimes it's tricky to hit them. And that is why I do prefer the Virant with 10 shots, because 10 is always better than 5, and that's what you get with these Zarza 22. Oh, they're flying! No! Now, sometimes they flush so fast you don't even know which one is male, and that's what just happened to me. I didn't even see the male. Well, that's unfortunate. We were gonna shoot that guy too. Oh, those were different pheasants. They are still here. Okay, very sweet. So there's one. And if you want to know what your pheasant was going to score if you do shoot it grounded, just accept it, go into your codex, go to hunting log and latest harvest, and there is the score right there. Okay. Now the rares for pheasants are albino, leucistic, and melanistic, and they are all stunning. Absolutely beautiful. I only have a melanistic right now, so I'm very excited to get the rest of the rares for ring-necked pheasants. Okay, so this guy is 178 meters, somewhere in that ballpark. So I'm just gonna aim a wee bit high. Beautiful! And he is down. Oh, we have another one. See, I aimed a little bit on top of them because I'm 0 to 150 and they are closer to 180. That is why I aimed a little bit higher. And I do have a pickup tent because this tent is allocated to this zone. So I allocate 1 tent per zone. If they don't come into their zones, if you get to a zone and there are no pheasants there, what I would then recommend doing is fast travel to another zone and just set the time back to that 1 hour mark before the end of feed zone time. You can put the time forward by 1 minute, that will work as well, but might as well put the time back so you have more time to grind. Then fast travel back to that zone and they should be there. Now, if you get to a zone and they have spooked before you even got there, what you can do is fast travel back to the tent before that, leave the map and come back, fast travel back, and they will be right back in their zones. And here we go. Where's the rooster? It can be really hard to see where the stinking rooster is. I don't see one. So it definitely is a tougher grind since the update, but it is definitely still doable. It's a little bit more challenging, and you know what? Challenge can be fun. So if you don't like shooting them in the air or it's too difficult, definitely set up from 200 meters and do it that way. We do have options. Now, when you're grinding pheasants, there is absolutely no reason to ever shoot females. You want to be shooting roosters all the time. There we go. Now, another thing I want to mention is that it is very, very important that you pick up all of your kills. I mean, if you miss 1 or 2, it's not going to ruin your grind, but every kill you pick up goes towards spawning a great one. If you don't pick up any of your kills, you're going to be grinding for a very, very long time because I am pretty certain that EW changed the coding so that you cannot spawn a great one unless you harvest your kills. So if you miss a couple, it just means that those 2 are not going to go towards spawning your great one. It doesn't ruin your grind, but pick up those kills so you get that great one to spawn. Okay, so here is my hotspot map for ring-necked pheasants in Salzwiesen Park. I have put black circles on where I have set up, and I have put yellow dots where I have pheasant zones. Now, I doubt that I have found every single zone on the map, but those are the ones I have found so far. Pheasants can be anywhere where I have highlighted, so it is actually a pretty simple grind. Just set up on 12 zones and go from zone to zone, either set up right on top of the zone or from about 200 meters, and you want to be shooting those roosters. Pick them up, head to the next zone, and just keep rotating. Now, I would recommend leaving the map once a rotation. It doesn't necessarily cause you to get respawns, but what it does is it brings the pheasants back into their zones, it stops them from being spooked, and makes them calm again. So, once I have hit all of my zones, I exit to the main menu, come back, and start a new rotation. And that's all there is to it. Now, if you do have questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. And if you did enjoy the video, slap that like button. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this. Lots of guides coming. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to recommend that you click right here for another sweet video.